Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and today we're doing a collaboration with Darcy Sanders and her Darcy's December Daily. So Darcy put this collaboration together quite late in November and reached out and I went, yes, of course, I'll do it to you, my friend. So we each have a prompt for each day, and my prompt is, in my day, traditions you had grown up with. So in my day, traditions you had grown up with, which is for Christmas. So I thought, right, I have in here, and I know I have in here because I remember doing it. This is my book where I create 12 by 12s. In here somewhere is a Christmas 12 by 12. I think that's it actually. Is there another one? This is where, when I finish a project, I use up the scraps and recycle them into a 12 by 12. So basically, the tradition I've had in my family is every year when we get Christmas cards, we collect the Christmas cards, we harvest them, and we end up with like a box of bits from Christmas, and we recycle them and make new cards from them. So I need to take this out of here. Actually, I'm going to turn the camera off because it's a bit tricky because I'm trying to do it under a camera. There you go, that's better. Okay, so I now have ended up with the 12 by 12, which is basically, these are all of the leftover pieces from a collaboration I did, was it this year or last year? Last year, I believe it was, in 2023 with Rachel Bella Crafts, where we were doing Christmas, and I had all these pieces left over, and I think there's still a couple of pieces in my box here. So this box basically, every year, when I grew up, we didn't have much money. In fact, we had very little money. And what we used to do is what a lot of people still do to this very day. The Christmas cards were actually, that we received, we cut them up, they made gift tags, or we kept elements off them. That's a bit of the paper, like we'd cut out the inscriptions or bits that were stuck on them, and we would make Christmas cards from previous year's Christmas cards. No one objected to it. It's just the way I was brought up, it's the way we worked. So I thought, right, today I'm going to make a few Christmas cards. I don't really give Christmas cards except to my neighbours in my street. I'm one of these people that I would much rather, in the month of December, reach out and talk to my friends or do a video chat or message them, much more than go out and buy a card, mail it, hope it gets there, and when they open it, they go, oh, it's lovely from Ceri, put it on the mantelpiece, and then it goes to recycling. Hopefully it goes to recycling. So I would rather do that than send cards. So I need to cut this up. Now, all of the cards I've got, I pulled out 6. I don't know whether I'm going to be getting 6 done. I've got 2 cream, 2 craft, 2 white. And I've also pulled out some backing cards as well. So the cards are 5 by 7. These are 6 by 4. And I may or may not use them to back these with if I choose to. So I need to... Let's see, what do I need to do? I need them to be 4 by 6, don't I? Now, I don't really want to chop this girl in half, and I've got a feeling that she could be in danger of being chopped in half unless I'm really careful. So we'll see. We may make some gift tags as well. So see if I do that 4, that slices her ear off. How wide is all of that? If I brought that to there, I wonder. Sorry, this is one of the challenges of cutting something up. If I go 4 that way, so let's put that to 4. We could do a landscape card. So if I put that to 6, that will just go into my stash. Oh, peeled off anyway, that's lovely. This will go into my stash. I might just make it into a gift tag. So there you go. So that's, I just stuck down. So that'll be a 4 by 6, which means it will be a landscape card, which is fine. Right, this is 12. Let's see if I can just chop this in half. This one will need extra decoration. I'm going to cut the head off the snowman if I do that. That seems a little bit unnecessarily cruel. Let's just chop that. That's a cute card, not a greetings card. And if I chop this in 6, that gives me another one I could turn into a fat tag. But that gives me another card front. So that's 2 card fronts. Now, this is a bit I love, and this is a bit I love, but are we going to get them both on the same thing? So 6. Right, something has to be sacrificed somewhere. I think if I make that just slightly less than 6, which I don't mind it being less than 6, that can be a long tag. And if I make this 4, am I going to amputate something from this young lady? No, right. So it looks like I'm going to be able to get 4 cards. I don't mind this because, oh, mind that bit on the edge, which isn't very attractive. Because I've got other elements I can put on here. So let's just pop that to one side a second. So my aim is to do greetings cards today. It's not an aim to do this, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop the corners off these and make them into tags so that I know that I've made tags from them. So I've got 4. Now the thing is, I want to decide from the get-go what sort of layering card I want on these. So if this one's got mainly red, would I put it on red? Would it be best on green? Come here, green. Or would it be best on gold? Actually, I quite like this one with green, so let's just put that to one side. Now this has got red on here. And this was the one I chopped down a bit. They're all going to have to be chopped down a bit to give me this border, so that'll stay on red. Let's just go with gold on that one. And maybe red on that one. Right, these will go back into my stash. Now, for these to fit onto these cards, obviously these are the same size. So I'm going to have to take a little trim off each of them. So I'm just going to pull out my smaller trimmer. And I'm not really measuring, I'm just eyeballing how much I'm taking off on these. I just want a very thin outline of the red. A little bit more in there. You could measure them. As you can see, I don't. So see, I just want a narrow piece all the way around this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all of these down now to be the right size to go onto those backings, and then I'll show you how I back them. So here we go. So I've trimmed them down so I've got a little bit of a red border around. In this process, I absolutely have to let go of perfectionism. I don't need to measure this border. It's just on the front of a greetings card. I'll do the best I can, and that's good enough. So I'm going to get double-sided tape. If you've seen me do this before, it's the way I always do it. This is easy tear tape. It's a double-sided craft tape. Not a particular brand. I bought this at a craft fair, and I literally just... I think it's called finger lift or something like that, because there is an edge to it you can slip your nail under. I just broke that bit. There you go. Let's put that little bit by there. So, one to side. So my next job is I actually just stick my fingernail under the edge and I peel back a corner and I fold it so it sticks out. And I do the same here. There you go. So it sticks out, that bit's going to annoy me. Just put a little bit of glue underneath that one. There you go. Again. Now, you don't have to use double-sided tape. You could just use glue. I think it's probably from my TV demonstration days. This is the way I always did it because it was quick and I just got everything done. So next, I take this and I'll put some glue in the middle. I usually use glue stick. Now, glue stick is doing nothing more than just holding it in place for me. So I'll pop this over onto here. Now, the folded tape is actually what's keeping it from touching down. Remember, if you touch it down in the corners, that's where the double-sided tape is exposed. It will stick and you won't be able to slide it. But by pressing it in the middle, you've still got wiggle room because of the glue stick. So then once I'm happy with this position, I just pull the tape out, run my finger down, and that will actually get them all sorted. And this is the way I do a lot of the things for greetings cards, for toppers, for things. This is just the easiest process I've found for making it work. So I've done that, and I've already done my others. Now, what I want to do now is I'm going to decide which sort of cards these go on to. Let's take the envelopes out of the way. What sort of colour I want them on to. I can already see that there's one or two that I think should be on brown. There's a good one for cream. It'll depend on what the aesthetic is when I piece them together now. So let's put those ones on. You can decorate the envelopes. I pretty much don't, because they're usually going through a letterbox, and I don't want anything like getting trodden on when somebody opens a door, so I don't do that. Right, so I'm looking at these. I quite like the red up against white. Let's have to go that way. I don't mind it against this one. How many reds have I got? Would this go better on that one? Right, that works for me. Let's put that to one side. Green. I don't mind green against the cream, actually. My instinct would say put gold, but there's a lot of cream in that, though. Actually, I'm going with this cream, I think. Okay, that's the next one ready. Now, I've got gold here. Now, my choices are this, but I really was leaning towards cream for the gold. That's another one. And then the final one, let's do one on a white one, because I haven't done one so far. So these will go back in my stash. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm trying to save time on this video, guys. I don't want you sitting there watching an hours-long video for a really small project. So I'm going to use the same tape and glue method to get the fronts stuck onto the cards. So I'll be back in 2 seconds, and they'll all be in place. Let me go into decorating and finishing them off. So there you go. That's them done for the fronts on. I'm now going to come in and I'm going to use my box of stuff just to make them a little more special. Now, things you could have done, I mean, they're good enough as it is now. They can go out. But this is just using last year's digital from Rachel Bella Crafts to get these done, and that was a great use of a masterboard to do this, but obviously they need more. Now, before I stuck the fronts on, I could have come in and I could have done some blending inks on the corner in Christmas colours. I could have stenciled maybe some holly and ivy designs on there. I could have stamped snowflakes onto the background, all before, just to make it more interesting. I could have done umpteen different things, to be honest with you. So let's see what we've got in my little box of tricks. It wasn't my plan to do 3 portrait ones, and when you are putting 3 landscape, make sure before you stick them down, you always make sure they open correctly, because there's nothing worse than doing that and they don't. So right, let's have a little pull this out of here. So this was a box that I created full of stuff from last year's Christmas cards. So I've got a Merry Christmas, so Christmas greetings. Oh, actually, there's a nicer one. I don't know if that's one I want. Right, so I've got, if I go more Christmas trees. These would have been, yeah, they would have been on foam pads. So I would have, right, that's not a Christmas thing to me. I would have, for a special friend, that's cute. I would have just cut the things off the back. Now, if I wanted, that would fit onto there, and that one would be done as well. But I think that's a bit big, because what I would have done is, instead of using the masterboard, I just would have backed this with that and put it on there. So that can go bye-byes. Season's greetings. Again, this would have been on a card on its own. Merry Christmas. That's a nice Merry Christmas. It's a bit big, though, for what I'm thinking. That's a bit big and dominating. Winter wishes. Again, that would have to be a central piece, wouldn't it? Oh, there you go. There's another one of the little girls from the kit. I mean, I could add it onto one of these, or I could put her right in the middle there, to be honest with you. But I'm not sure I want to do that. Let's leave that to one side. I'm trying to pull the card from, right, that's a bit too a sheep for Christmas. I don't think so. A little Christmas tree that looks like a vintage photo. That works for me. I quite like that on there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with some vintage photo distress ink. And I'm just going to go around the edge of this. Now, I can't remember where this came from. This feels like a photograph to me. So I'm wondering whether it came as part of another kit of some sort. Or whether it was cut off a greetings card. So I'm going to use art glitter glue. There's no glitter in the art glitter glue. It's just the brand. I'm just going to put a little line of it around the edge. And a little bit of a squiggle in the middle. And then my hardest job when I'm doing videos is lining things up with things. Because, of course, I'm not looking at it directly. I'm looking through an iPad. So I was trying to get things in the right place. So the thing that really throws me. Let's put the pin back in here before... Come on, Griffiths, get it together. There you go. So, right, that's not working for me. That's just too grey. Right, what does this say? May the peace and joy of Christmas time bring you happiness that will stay with you throughout the new year. I don't know, hang on to that for a second. Right, that's a bit of the backing paper. Right, all of these things are part and parcel of the same kit that came as part of the Rachel Bella Craft thing. So I think I'm going to move those to one side because I don't necessarily need to use those. Oh, I've got these trims, that's good. There's another Merry Christmas. More of those. These were beautiful, these. I can't remember the name of the kit. If you go to Rachel Bella Craft, I believe it's Etsy, and have a look at their Christmas, you will find those in there. It was a beautiful, beautiful digital. If not, go to their website and I'm sure it'll be on there as well. Right. Oh, we do have more trees. Okay, I thought I might have trees. Sparkle. That's a little bit too big, or it would be sparkling. Oh, there you go. There's a pure example. That was actually the front of a tall, thin Christmas card. I just cut it into a long tag. Okay, there's a little disc thing. Right, let's see what I've got here. I quite like the trim idea. Doesn't have to be at the bottom, could be at the top, could be at the side. I'll leave that to one side a second. Right, Christmas wishes. I quite like the colours of this. Actually, I quite like the fact that it's almost exactly the same size as that. Quite like it at the top. I think it needs a little bit of a snip. Taking a risk here, doing it by eye. And I think what I want to do is I just want to come in with the smallest corner and just round those out. I find if a corner is rounded, for some reason, it looks better than if it's not. It looks less like it's been cut from something. Right, this corner didn't come out very well, so I think I'm just going to trim that off again and see if I can redo it. And yes, I know by trimming it I've made it shorter, but that's actually okay. Oh, right way up would be a good idea, Griffiths. I'm not sure now. Actually, I don't mind it on there. Let's pull that across there. I like that. I need to find a focal point for this too. And I must admit, because it is a family tradition, most of my friends and neighbours who receive cards from us here in this house, well, receive from me now, know that we do this. They know that we recycle our cards, and actually you'd be surprised how happy some people are that we do that sort of thing. Okay, that's fine. Now, did I want to use this? Is it the white that's bothering me? Let's just take this down to that red line. Excuse me while I just do a tiniest bit of fussy cutting. I don't mind the white, it's just I didn't like the size of that piece of white. And I'm not going to fit this through a guillotine, and I'm not the best at fussy cutting, so. Okay, I don't mind that. Do I want to put that under there? Maybe I do. Let's just see if I can snip it by there. Is that the right size? Yes, it is. Right, that's going to go on there. This can be quite fun. I must admit, I have great memories as a child because obviously everything comes down on 12th night. And my birthday is 12th night. So what used to happen was we'd have my birthday tea, as Mum would call it. I'd have the cake, and we didn't have parties, we just had the family got together. So what would happen is we'd have the family tea for my birthday, and then afterwards we put all the greetings cards on the dining room table, and Mum and I would just go through them. My sister was never interested. She never turned out to be the creative bod I think my mother expected her to be, but we then sat down and harvested all of the Christmas cards. And what my mother would do was she would actually have in the back of her diary, she would first write down who'd sent us a card, then hand me the card. I would then take the back off the card, put the card backs in one pile, the card fronts in another pile. And once we'd finished that, we'd then go in with scissors, because we didn't have a guillotine or a cutter or anything at that time. We'd go in and then we'd harvest. Right. A bit like harvesting a magazine for glue booking, to be honest. I'm wondering whether this is going to be too much for these three across here. Maybe that just looks a little bit too much, but I do want a special one. I think that can be a special one. These two can go to one side. Let's get some glue on this and put this one down. Yeah, I always think it's funny that some people go, "Ooh, you harvest Christmas cards," and they'll look down on it. And then what will they do? When Christmas comes around, they'll go out and buy little bits of ephemera and die cuts to stick on their cards. And I'm like, well, you've just spent money getting that, and I just had it for free. So who's the fool now? Wonder whether I can cut that down slightly. This is my little trimmer. I first saw one of these. It's Bira Bira. I first saw one of these being used by Nicole at Relax Cut Glue, and I went out and purchased one, and it's been wonderful. I must admit, I do find that you need to keep pressing down on this to make sure things don't slip around, but then I would naturally do that anyway. I think that's going to be okay. This might be our first card finished, to be honest with you. Let's put a little bit of ink around the edge of that, just to frame it out. I'm not trying to make it look vintage. I'm literally just trying to frame it out. And then I think this one might be done. And of course, what we would do is we would actually set aside a couple of nights in my family to get the Christmas cards then built, because they'd be harvested like you harvest a magazine for glue booking. Then all of those would, it just knocked to, I think. Then all of those would go into a shoebox, and the shoebox would go in a cupboard until the following year. I think that one's pretty much done. I may do something around the edges, we'll see. So we're into these now. Now, some of these are just so beautiful, I'm not sure they need anything, but I quite like this. So there's something there, and I can't quite work out what it is. Right. I did kind of like this. What I don't like is the fact that wherever I put it, I'm cutting children off, basically. Right, I don't know, does this need anything more? I'm kind of thinking it doesn't. I don't think there's a card here that belongs to. I think I'll go call that one done. That one looks pretty enough as it is. This one, however, does need something. I wonder. I think if I cut this down and give it new bottom corners, it'll fit. And I don't mind losing the Santa Claus, that's fine. I just like the way it's gold and gold. So again, just edging it up. Yeah, it's funny because Darcy created her prompts for her Darcy's December Daily for herself, I believe. Can't remember what the actual purpose was, and then she had this idea about the second or third week of November. Oh, let's make this something we all do. And then she started reaching out. So bless her, nothing like a last minute shot, but actually it's fun. I like it. Right. I think that's quite cute. I do feel there needs to be something here though. That's wrong. And that's wrong. Was there anything else I could pull in? Not easily. Maybe it doesn't need anything. Is this just too big? Is that's what's bothering me? I don't mind it. I just feel it's a little large for what I'm trying to do. That's probably the worst cut in the world. Right, we're not doing that. That can go in the trash. I'm wondering whether I'm kind of finished. This still needs something. It desperately needs something. Right, back into here. They're cute, but it's just, there's just not enough on this one for me. Now I do have these little rub-ons from Tapeology, but I think they're too small for what I'm looking for. I keep looking at this and going, you know, she would look fabulous right in the middle of there. Wonder whether there's... The reason I'm stopping is because she needs backing. You know, I think I'm going to back this if I get green left. If I backed her with green and then put her in there, right, how am I going to do this? It's just a little bit of a cut there and a little bit of a cut there. I might come in with my trimmer then and just get that sorted. Hopefully I've done that correctly. Yes, I just need to ink up the edges, and I don't think I'm going to use double-sided tape on this one. It is only paper, and it does mean I can just glue it down with a bit of a glue stick. I just need to find a piece of magazine page to glue the backing to, and then I can actually glue the green backing itself on as well. That will bother me. Where's that glue stick on? Here you go. Trick is getting it centered as always. That's the reason I like glue stick. You can move stuff around. Right, you're nicely on there. And for once, I'm not going to round the corners because I quite like the fact that the corners in the background are equal to the corners in the foreground. Let's just put a little bit of glue stick in the middle of here. because glue stick is a lot cheaper than art glitter glue. And if I just put a line of this around the outside, now you could go to town with this, guys. You could do all of your journaling techniques like adding doilies and lace and torn paper and stuff like that. But for me, it's a case of just getting it done. I mean, I don't know how many greetings cards you send out every year, but when it comes to the street, there's a fair few, and I'd rather give out something I'm really proud of as a handmade item than not. Just try to find something Now, I think I'm going to call those done. Now, do I want to do anything on the edges? I mean, I do have stitching stamps I could use to put a stitched edge. I could come in with a gold marker or a gold Posca pen, but you know what? I think simple is as simple does, or simple does as simple, whatever that phrase is. I'm sure I've got that wrong and I've completely and utterly butchered it. So I think we're going to call those done. So I think if you've received one of those through your door, obviously inside I would put something in. Now, actually, that will raise a good question. Ceri, how do you do your card inserts? I have two different methods of doing card insert. The first is I cut a piece of paper fractionally smaller, I fold it in half, I run a piece of glue stick along here, if I'm opening it this way, and then I put a tiny dot of glue there and I close it and leave it closed, and then when it opens up, the flap will lift up. If, however, I'm doing it for someone who is a crafter or an artist like myself, what I would do is, say with this one, is I would cut a piece of paper that's marginally smaller than that, write my message and just slip it in and close it so it's not glued. So whoever received this could actually recycle the card or put the card into a journal without damaging the inside. So do I sign my cards? I sign my cards only if it's my own work. Putting pieces together of a beautiful digital or bits from other Christmas cards or greetings cards, recycled pieces on it, pieces like phrases someone else has read, that's not my work. So I won't sign them, except, of course, with my greetings on the inside. So hopefully you like those, guys. There you go, a little bit of a closer look. As I said, Rachel Bello crafted the digital last year. These are just from greetings cards that we've taken to pieces. It doesn't need to be a huge job. Absolutely doesn't need to be a huge job. And you could come in, as I said, you could put a gold line around there with a marker. You could come in and do some fake stitching with a black or a sepia pen, any of those. I think what I'm going to do with these is I'm actually just going to add these to this box. And then next year, guess what? I'll have a nice surprise when I do them. So, I'm Ceri the Crafter. And you know how that goes. It goes C-E-R-I, the Crafter. Bye-bye now.